Okay, so today we're going to talk about our first unit, which is the coordinate grid unit, and specifically there's vocab on here and linear measurement. The vocab, though, I did go over in class, but there is a Quizlet link up there that you can look on Google Classroom and just get all your vocabulary from the Quizlet and fill out your examples as well. So I'm not going to go over the vocab in this video, just the solving for x and the length of segments using that segment addition postulate. All right, so a line segment is going to be a line that actually has two endpoints. So a line goes on forever. A segment is going to have two endpoints. So therefore, it can be measured. It's going to have some sort of length. Right? So if I had a line segment, I could say it was 6 centimeters. It's going to have a length or a distance. This betweenness of points is telling us that between any 2 points, there is always some other point. So here I've got A and B on my line segment, and I can put an N there. There is something between them, because a line segment, a line, and a ray are all made up of points. Now, the big piece of this unit is going to be the segment addition postulate, which is telling us that part plus part equals whole. So I'm going to draw my part here from my statement. It's going to be AB is the full length with N somewhere in the middle. If we take AN, so if we take A to N and we add it to N to B, we're going to get the full length of the line, right? So part plus part will equal the whole. Now, congruent segments are going to be segments that have the same measure, which means we would set them equal to each other. Now, one way you might see this represented is a line with a hash mark in the middle. That is signifying that they are congruent. It might be 1, it could be 2, like that, or it could be 3. Okay, that's just telling you that those pieces are congruent to one another. And if that is the case, if they are congruent to one another, and one is 2x and one is x plus 5, if we knew they were indeed congruent to each other, and that's all we knew, we could set them equal to one another and solve for x there if we knew they were equal. All right, so the last thing on here is line segment bisector and possibly a midpoint. They're two different things, but they tell us the same detail. They're both going to cut a line segment in half or into 2 equal parts. They both do the same thing. Their picture just looks a little bit different. So a bisector is going to be some sort of line that has cut another line into equal parts. Okay? So I would say that CD bisected AB. So the one that follows is always the one that has been cut in half. Then we've got the midpoint, right? It's just going to be an actual point. So if I had line segment AB here and a point right in the middle, that would be the midpoint, right? It's in the middle and it's made both of those pieces equal. Again, if we knew that this piece was 2x minus 5 and this piece was 3x plus 1, which would never actually work, we would set those pieces equal to each other. And we would solve for x if we knew that those were equal and we didn't have a whole piece. Now, if they give us the whole piece, we can just add them up to the whole. All right, so let's look at this segment addition postulate based off of numerical values. So in number 1, we're asked to find the measurement of RT. So I'm going to highlight what RT is. It ends up being the entire length. So we're going to add together our 2 pieces. We've got part 1 and part 2. So we're going to add 2 centimeters to 2.5 centimeters. So RT would equal 4.5 centimeters. For number 2, we are looking for GH. Notice that GH is now one of the pieces. It's one of the parts. So if we were setting this up as part times part, we would have 9 plus 7, or 9.7 plus x, because that's the piece we're missing, equals 15 millimeters. So really, the process here would be subtraction. We would subtract 9.7 from both sides to find out what our missing piece is. So we would get 5.3 millimeters. So GH is 5.3 millimeters. The last part here is WX. So we are looking for this piece here. Now they have told us that WX is congruent to XY. That's what those little hash marks there mean. So if they are equal, that means all that X is doing is cutting the whole thing in half. So we're going to take 6 centimeters, divide it by 2 to get 3 centimeters. So WX would be 3 centimeters. Okay, so let's take this a step further. That was numerical values. Now we're going to look at word problems that they've given us. Now this is important. They tell us to draw S between R and T. So on my line segment, I'm going to draw RT with a point S in the middle. Now this might not be drawn to scale, but I'm drawing the picture they have given me. And now they tell me that RS is 2x. So from R to S, I'm going to put 2x. Then they say that ST is 5x plus 4. And that RT is 32. So the whole thing is 32. And again, I'm going to do my part plus part equals whole. So 2x plus 5x plus 4 equals my 32. And now I'm just going to solve here. So I've got 7x plus 4 equals 32. Subtract 4 from both sides. 7x equals 28, divide by 7. So x equals 4. Now I'm going to come back up here and make sure I'm solving for what I need to. It says find the value of x. So I'm going to circle that so I know I need to do that. I've done that. But it also says to find the length of ST. In order to find the length of a segment, you have to take that x value that we just found and plug it back into the proper equation. So ST, right, was right here. So I'm going to plug it in to 5 times 4 plus 4, which would be 20 plus 4, or 24. Now I have accomplished what they have asked me to do. If you have any questions, please feel free to see me in class. All right, let's try it again. Here for number 5, they've still got that same statement as before, where we're putting S in between R and T. So please make sure you're following the directions on that. So we've got R, T, and S in the middle. So I know that from S to T, I've got Y plus 2. From R to T, so the whole thing, I've got 5Y minus 10. And from R to S, I have 2Y. Now it's asking me to find the value of Y and all 3 lengths, which means I need to plug Y back into each statement. So I'm going to create my part plus part. So part 2Y was RS, and Y plus 2 is ST, and it equals 5Y minus 10. So we've got 3Y plus 2 equals 5Y minus 10. Subtract 3Y from both sides. And we get 2 equals 2y minus 10. Add 10 to both sides. We get 12 equals 2y, divide by 2. So y equals 6. So now we're going to take that value of y, because we've done the first piece, and we're going to find all three lengths. So we're going to take y and plug it in. So I know rs is 2 times ry, or 6. So we get 12 for rs. Then I know s to t is y plus 2. So I'm going to do 6 plus 2 and get 8. And then we know that r to t is 5 times 4 minus 10, which will give us, 5 times 6. I apologize, I put a 4 there. So 30 minus 10 gives us 20. To double check that we are right, we do 12 plus 8 equals 20. We've done a fabulous, fabulous job. All right, let's try example number 6 here. We're still drawing that same line. So I've got r to t with s in the middle. And they tell us that rs is 4x. And then they give us this statement here. rs is congruent to st. So if rs is congruent to st, it means they are the same. So that means st is also going to be 4x. Then they tell us rt is 24. So part plus part equals whole would set up 4x plus 4x equals 24, or 8x equals 24. Divide by 8, x equals 3. Now let me make sure all I need to find is the value of x, and it is indeed, so now I have finished. There is another way you could have solved this. You could have taken 24 and divided it by 2 and said that's 12 and set it equal to 4x, and you would have gotten exactly the same answer. Now please realize there are multiple ways to solve some of these. So if you start getting the same answer and you're thinking out of the box, just talk to me about it and I'll let you know if what you're doing is correct. All right, last example here. We have still again drawing point S between R and T. So I'm going to put R and T on here with S somewhere in the middle. It tells me from S to T is 2j plus 8. Then it tells me again that they're congruent. So that means R to S is also 2j plus 8. And that R to T is j plus 22. Again, we're going to do part plus part equals whole. So I'm going to have 2j plus 8 plus 2j plus 8 equals j plus 22. So that gives us 4j plus 16 equals j plus 22. Subtract j from both sides. We're going to get 3j plus 16 equals 22. Subtract 16 from both sides. We get 3j equals 6 divided by 3. J equals 2. Okay, let me double check. Should have queued before I did this. Okay, so we got a value of j. Check, but then it says also the value of st. So st is going to be 2 times 2 plus 8. And we're going to get 4 plus 8, or 12, for our value of st. Now, if you have any other questions, please feel free to see me in class and ask me all of your questions.